Well, for my local underground musicians, have faith that all the touring bands will eventually lighten up a little bit and give you space to play again. Because I feel like the touring bands are just like taking everything they can get and not leaving really any opportunities for smaller bands right now, trying to recoup losses. On the other hand, it is good that people are getting out and seeing live music again. So just use the opportunities when the bigger bands come to town to network. Just like have flyers for your next show. Go hit the door, and, at the encore and hand them out to people walking out. CDRs they still work, or even like a download code. And people just use any means to get your name out there. Having off the bigger bands, it will get better, it always does. So yeah, that's my message of hope. Is like just keep pounding pavement, man. Bring back some of those 1980s methods, dude. Flyers underneath windshield wipers at venue parking lots. Like I said, download codes are cheap. You can just print out like 40 of them on a piece of paper and cut them with a paper cutter. CDRs. I don't think I would do thumb drives. Those cost money. The CDRs are cheap. Most people still have a CD player somewhere. Flyers, just any kind of word of mouth you can do, man. Posters, anything you can do to get your name out there.
I think one thing I did notice is metal, there's not really a whole lot of room to like improvise and maybe do your own thing. Because there was actually a blues concert not too far from where my house was, and
right.
Obviously you see them, they'll extend the song longer than probably what it was on the album too. They'll do like maybe longer guitar solos, maybe fit in a drum solo here or there, or the drummer's doing something else. Yeah. Metal, you don't really do that a whole lot. It's more of you keep it within the confines of the song. Maybe you speed it up in a way, but it's still the song played from like A to B, if you know what I mean. So,
oh yeah, sure.
So there's that. So I can see why you would say you have to always be on your toes, because it'd be like it's almost like reading sheet music in a way. So
yeah, if you divert a little bit, like if someone knows your song, they're gonna recognize it. But like I said, if mistakes happen, people recognize those right away too, because something's wrong. Like the hi-hat stopped, or like your bass drum busted and you can't play it anymore. So you're losing like the floor tom to get through to the next song, stuff like that. It's always like that. Like it's always like a little bit of danger to me that something really bad is going to go wrong. Like I remember like I think it was my first ever live show in the band before Temptations Wings, which was named the name was Primed, Prymed. We were doing a Skid Row cover, and my snare drum fell over in the middle of the song, and I didn't know what to do. Like I really just was like, uh-oh. I just stopped and froze. That was like my first lesson. It's like for playing live, it's like make sure everything is sturdy before you start the set. Cymbal stands, toms, make sure they're tightened down to where they don't like the tilt doesn't fall, or it's like facing flat instead of like an angle, stuff like that, So yeah, it's like growing pains, but yeah, ever since that, I never forgot that snare falling over. It's stuck with me the whole time.
The bitter memory, but it was also a valuable lesson learned that night too. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yep.
Would you say that was one of your worst nights ever?
Forgot it. I have a video of it still somewhere when it happened. I haven't watched it in like a long time, but
oh man.
Yeah.
Oh man, I would say that's probably a way to almost torture yourself mentally whenever you're thinking about it.
It was the first show. It was the first live show I ever played with any kind of with anybody. So like, yeah, I have it recorded, but yeah, that band was okay. I was probably the weakest link in it because I was the most inexperienced at the time, which I actually think I still am in a way. Even though I'm the oldest in the band in Temptations Wings now, I feel like I'm the most inexperienced somehow. But yeah, man, it's just like little stuff like that you just don't forget, and you always use it to make sure you do better next time.
I think the most important thing now is whenever you see the video, you just gotta look over and just laugh so fucking hard, that sort of thing.
Unless my kids want to see it, I'll probably never watch that video again in my life. It's on VHS anyway. It was like camcorder. I don't even really know where it's at, except for that it's somewhere in this house.
Right.
In a box somewhere. Yeah.
All right, fair enough. I think you did mention about the drummer from Sword. Would you say he's been your biggest influence, or do you have a good number of other drummers?
Man, I have a lot. Yeah, his name is Trivet Wingo. I think the Sword kind of fell off once he quit the band. Personally, they didn't. Nothing they really did ever really did it for me. Like those first 3 albums. I think a lot of people actually share that sentiment, but for me in particular, he was a really big influence. There's a band I really like called Grand Magus. I'm wearing their hat right now. They have a new their current drummer's name is Ludwig Witt. They're from Sweden. I really like his style a lot. I actually play a lot of drum covers for myself on their later albums because he's almost like fits into my like style of playing. He doesn't really do anything that I can't do, kind of like gives me a few more chops to practice and hopefully incorporate one day. Obviously, there's like Black Album and back Lars Ulrich. Anybody says that he wasn't like a monster drummer back then is lying to themselves. He was really something else for his time. I think he's gotten lazy over the years. I don't think he respects his classic music anymore like he should, because he just shortcuts a lot of he shortcuts a lot of fills and stuff nowadays, and just kind of like relies on his snare and China more than anything, which kind of annoys me. But Black Album and back, Lars Ulrich, definitely one of my big influence. Vinnie Paul, his style of just like pounding the shit out of his drums like at all times. That's kind of like the way I play too. Maybe not as hard as he does, but I do play with a heavy foot. Cozy Powell from Rainbow, another amazing drummer that I really like. I remember at one time I could actually play the intro for Stargazer. I don't know if you're familiar with that one.
No, I have heard that song. Yeah, the fact it's a killer song.
That drum intro is top 5 for sure. Obviously, Nico McBrain, another one, and then also Bill Ward for sure. So yeah, those are pretty much my. If Mount Rushmore had more than 4, that would be Mount Rushmore of drummers. But there's a lot of local regional bands I really dig too. There's a band called Horseburner I'm a big fan of. Their drummer's name is Adam Noe. He's really amazing. The band Howling Giant, Zach Wilson, another one he crushes when he plays. So yeah, there's a lot of them out there. Regional bands just trying to make it big that have really awesome drummers too, that inspire me. It doesn't just have to be the big boys. It can be anyone who just like is really good at their craft.
Well, the thing is, I think it would be like a Mount Rushmore. I feel like John Bonham and Neil Peart would be in that mix somewhere. I think most people would vote for that.
The only thing not for me personally, I'm not a huge Zeppelin fan. Like, I just think like the reason John Bonham gets so much credit a lot of times is because he died. Because like there's really no best drummer ever. It's kind of like impossible, because there's so many drummers that can do so many things that can't do other things. Like John Bonham is awesome, like blues driven. I bet you couldn't play thrash for shit. How do you really compare like who's the best drummer if you can't do everything? You know what I mean? But I'm not saying anything bad about John Bonham. I'm just saying like a lot of times like these guys like Hendrix, John Bonham, people like that, because they died young, I feel like they get like this like pedestal that's like, yeah, I mean they were good before they did, but the best, there's no such thing to me.
I can see your point, but
yeah.
Well, I don't know if I could really try to counter
Neil
that.
Peart's on a different level. That dude was like a virtuoso. I mean, he's amazing, but because it's not really my thing, I just don't really like worship the ground he walked on per se. Like I respect everything he did. Like he was awesome, but I'm not a huge Rush fan. So because it's not really my wheelhouse of playing. I just kind of like right to the point stuff, instead of like just kind of like doing like weird stuff for like 12 minutes. I'm not a Tool fan either, really. It's kind of the same thing. I mean, Danny Carey's awesome, but I would rather go watch Lars Ulrich in Justice for All era than go see Tool. Myself personally, because it's just not the kind of music I like.
I would say I heard the Freight Insanity. I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, Freight Insanity. The dude, Justice album is amazing. His drumming on that is amazing.
I'm actually getting ready to actually do Blacken, the first song from that album, and I was getting ready to That's going to be released later this month, so stay tuned for that one. And
oh, cool, man, yeah.
I would say I was listening to Freight Ants Insanity yesterday in the car, thinking like, damn, that was good. And you realize the progression he had from Kill 'Em All through Ride Lightning, Master of Puppets. And it was like, that was that sort of thing. It was like way over the top, to be honest, for pretty much all of them, really, because that was, if not the greatest album there, because that was 88, right?
88 or 89. I think 88. Because let's see. Master was 86, and I think they did Garage Days in 87 with Jason Newsted. So yeah, I think 88 was Justice's album.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say it's such a fun album too, and I think I can
I actually love the production on that album. Really, I really do. I know a lot of people hate it. It's so dry, but man, those drums are just so up front. It's awesome to listen to me.
I would say more so with the bass, to be honest, because it just stands out compared to like everybody else, everything else that kind of like he plays on. So it's almost like, damn, and that thing's like blasting more than you hear the subwoofers or anything in the cars whenever people are blasting their loud rap music. So it's almost like, that was pretty good. Those were the days.
There's some blackened, give me blackened over like any like 90s gangster rap or whatever. If you want to go, if you want to bump speakers, I'll any metal from anything from that album will blast any rap music from the 80s and 90s out the window, man. As far as like moving speakers goes, to me, like I used to have a pickup truck and I had like two like dual 12-inch speakers behind the seat. It was ridiculous. I didn't need it, but I had to have it because I just wanted like a really loud stereo, My stereo was worth more than my vehicle kind of thing. And I would like roll up to school like in Justice for All like almost every morning. And like it was like you could like hear it, but it wasn't like that like weird it wasn't like that weird bass, like fake bass. It was like just like drums, So
they call that 808s with
okay.
And the rap music when you hear that boom boom, that sort of thing.
Yes.
So I have to say,
but mine would just be like double bass, like coming at you,
Just pull up, you're playing Dyer's Eve. Oh man.
Exactly. Yeah. Whatever song I was at when I pulled into school, usually probably didn't make it past Harvester of Sorrow most of the time. And I would just start at blacking and just drive.
Okay. All right, that's pretty cool. And I was trying to think of something else with Lars, but we'll say that for another time. I guess. Yeah. Do you have a YouTube channel, or do you use something else with social media in order to do any drum covers or promote your material?
So I don't do any drum covers, like filming a video and then like playing. Dave was the first one I ever did, like a professional one. But on my band channel, which is Temptations Wings Band, I do have some videos of like some whole sets playing drums, like a whole set. So there's that. But yeah, as far as like doing drum covers, I've always wondered if I could do it, but I don't know, man. Like the YouTube comments would like piss me off because like someone would be criticizing like, oh, you were like half a beat too late in that one snare on like 204. It's like, dude, shut up. So it's like maybe I shouldn't subject myself to this kind of abuse. So yeah, I haven't ever done one. Like there's a lot of songs I've thought about doing, like a lot of Grand Mega songs, or like even like even like off the Black album. There's some songs that I think I could do a good job with, but I just don't, because to be honest with you, I've never really tried to mix my electric kit into like a YouTube video with like the song playing and stuff like that. So I just don't. I've just never done it.
I would say YouTube's it's a long uphill struggle, to be honest.
Yeah.
In order to at least try to make it to where you're at least earning any sort of income too. So maybe it's a good thing too.
There's a couple of guys I follow on YouTube that do that. There's some really cool ones. But as far as me doing like my own dedicated channel to drum covers, I would never do it. But like I said, I don't mind throwing drum performances on our band channel though. I have quite a few of them actually.
These drummers you follow, are they very well known ones, or are they kind of like up and coming guys as well?
No, a lot of them are just like cover dudes. Like I don't really follow like anybody like really big in any big bands. Like maybe like the occasional like Gene Hoglan video, stuff like that. which is another influence of mine. But I'd never be at his level, so I don't even like really consider him my holy grail drummers because I'm just like, dude, you're incredible, but you're like way far out of my league. So, but no, most of them is just like dudes who just like play drums. They have like nice studio setups, and they just play songs and just have like a bunch of songs on their YouTube channel. There's one in particular I do really like. Let me see if I can find them real quick.
I always laugh when I hear about Gene Hoagland's story because how he ended up as the roadie with a Slayer for a good while. And he ended up in Dark Angel, right?
Dude, he's in Dark Angel. He's in Death. He was in Testament. He was in Death Clock, which he's playing with again now, and Dark Angel. Strapping Young Lad. I think it's some of his solo stuff. I think he was in Fear Factory, maybe 1 or 2 albums. Yeah, the dude's in a lot. He's got a lot going on.
That's for sure. Actually, I bet when he first started off, that was when Dark Angel also started coming around, right?
Yeah, I think Dark Angel might have been his first one. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I'm pretty sure it's one of his earlier bands.
Actually, I love listening to Dark Angel. Actually, maybe the first 4 songs. I didn't actually get through the whole album, to be honest. But I know the first 4 songs on that, Darkness Descends, it was so killer, man. Yeah.
Man, a lot of that early 80s thrash is like pretty priceless stuff, man. That's just so raw and new, and it was just like no holds barred. It kind of reminds me of like UFC, like when it first started versus like what it is now. Like back then, it felt like I had like all the bands like felt like they had some kind of danger element to them. And now, I mean, even if the riff is good, whereas like back then it was kind of like this, like I said, it's all sanitized and there's really no element of danger. I mean, like you take Metallica for instance, like listen to like Kill 'Em All through like Injustice, and then listen to 3 studio albums, and it's like no bite to it. It's like all bark but no bite. There's no sense of like, it's like it's safe, and it's like is safe thrash fun? I just don't think it is.
Nah, you definitely needed that rawness, like how you used to roll in the late 80s.
Exactly.
So yeah, I can see what you mean too. I mean, I'm still bang my head listening to the old school Slayer back when they would actually it was Die by the Sword, but I know it was also The Hell Awaits Out Good. So
South of Heaven.
South of Heaven, yeah.
South of Heaven's a brutal one, man. Yeah, it's great album.
I would say I did see an interview with Kerry King, and he said like why they switched from like going like real fast on Rain and Blood to like slowing down on South of Heaven. He said they just didn't want to be a one-trick pony, so they wanted to like mix it up. So he's got a point too. You want to try to mix it up because you don't want to just keep sounding the same over and over again. So
yeah, I think Seasons in the Abyss album is probably like their best like sample or platter, if you had to like have a term, because Seasons in the Abyss is slow and it's fast. A lot of the songs are like mid-tempo, but a lot of the songs are really fast too. It's a really good mix of like what they are all about in that one album. I feel like,
the whole history of 83 to what was that 91?
Yes, yeah. So like I said, I think Seasons is probably like their best overall representation of what they can of their boundaries as a band.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
Plus Seasons in the Abyss is probably my favorite Slayer song because that first Dave Lombardo drum fill, like when they speed up, like the one where it's just like all like toms, like the bass drum and toms. It's so aggressive, man. Like you can just feel how aggressive that is every time you listen to it, man. It's like my favorite drum fill of all time.
I think it was a little bit later. I don't think it was in the beginning, but then like I think it was after the first chorus. That's when you talk about when you just like that sort of thing, or it's like a mix
it's like
the
before
toms.
The second verse. Like it's the bridge between like the first chorus and the second verse. I think it's
I agree.
If I remember correctly, it's not very far into the song, but it is after they speed up. But you'll know it when you hear it because it's just like it's amazing. Every time like that song is on, like if I'm like in the driveway or parking lot, I just wait for that fill to play before I even shut the car off because I just have to hear it every time. It's like some weird drug. Like I don't know what it is about that one fill, but man, it's incredible to me.
I do know what you're talking about, so I know what you're talking about. It's a killer film. So
yeah.
Did you find the guy or did you?
Oh yeah. Not yet. Hold on. Speaking of Slayer, though, he did a cover of that song, and he does it pretty spot on. Let's see.
I would say whenever I do goof around with Season the abyss. I admit I'm always like improvising really, but I'm making sure to still keep the beat. So, but it's mostly for fun. I meant to get a nice sweat on.
Yeah, so this guy's name is Delta Empire. His channel is called Delta Empire. So he dresses up in all black, so you can't really see anything but the drumsticks and the drums. And he does some really, really good covers, man. Like, I watch everything he puts out, even if I'm not into the song. Like, I think he did like a Taylor Swift cover or something one time. It was like really weird, but yeah, he seemed into it. But yeah, so Delta Empire is like a big one. I like his channel a lot. That's probably the main channel that I watch. But there's some other ones. There's some girls that are pretty good. The one called like I think her name is like Brooke C. She does some like Tool covers and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. There's a young girl from like Norway or something called Sina. She does like classic rock stuff, like Deep Purple or Rolling Stones, stuff like that. And she's really good too. So yeah, there's some really good drum cover people out there. Whether or not they play in actual bands, I have no idea. But their drum covers are spot on, man. It's something I could never do. But
I think they want to get to that point eventually.
I appreciate it. Which one?
I was going to say, I think they want to get to that point eventually where they want to play in a band. Otherwise, they may just stick it out on YouTube. I don't know if they changed the ruling because I don't know if they can make money with doing drum covers for copyrighted material. So I don't know if they update those rules on YouTube. I honestly couldn't tell you. So
no,
maybe it does. Leave it down in the comments.
Probably not, because their YouTube is weird, man. It's like the things they copyright struck us for one of our own songs because our record label put it on in grooves, and then we put it up somewhere and like it was like copyright stricken and it was our own damn song. It's like, well, that makes no sense, but okay, whatever.
Yeah.
So basically, we just can't monetize that one video. That's all.
Not really. Everyone else is okay.
Yeah. But the label gets the money from in-grooves, whatever.
Oh
so,
my gosh.
Yeah, it's fine.
That's ridiculous. I know what you mean, too. Don't even get me started on that.
It's like talking about politics, man. You can just go on forever and ever and just get madder and madder because YouTube sucks.
Well, you love it, but you also hate it, too. It's
I love YouTube, too. I mean, like, I go down a YouTube rabbit hole several times a week. Just random stuff, not even music. Sometimes just like fixing things around the house or whatever, you know. Since that's kind of my line of work, I like just watching random videos about stuff I never really thought of. But I always have drum videos recommended to me. Every time I turn it on, it's like, you know, hey, this guy's got a new video for, you know, whatever song, and this girl has a video for whatever song, and you know, there's a sick drummer video for you know, Amon Amarth, Ready to View, and stuff like that. So yeah.
All right. Fair enough. Well, Jason, we did breeze through a good number of questions, but we got some fun ones right here. Ready for these ones?
Ready.
All right. So we'll start with the first one. I guess first off, do you drink?
I wouldn't say I drink a lot, but I do drink, yeah. Beer, that's about it.
I guess which one would you consider to be your favorite drink?
So I'll get a little bit technical on this since I am kind of a beer snob. We do live in a pretty heavily populated brewery area. Probably more breweries than churches nowadays, I would say, which is a good thing. But I like Green Man Oktoberfest as my favorite beer. Speaking of, it's July, so it should be coming out next month, which I'm pretty excited about. But yeah, I'm not really into the swill stuff like Coors, Bud Light, Budweiser, stuff like that. Not even for any like political reasons or anything, just because I think this shit tastes like shit. It's rice water to me. It really has no flavor. So yeah, but yeah, I live in a pretty good area for craft breweries. But yeah, any pale ale I'm usually down with. IPAs sometimes if I'm in the mood. Stouts after a big meal I can do, and I like winter beers a lot, like the dessert beers. Like a Christmas cookie porter or whatever weird concoction. I get down with that stuff too. So.
I see.
But I really don't drink unless I go out or it's just like a special occasion. Like I don't like just it's Tuesday. I gotta stop and get me a 6-pack on the way home. I don't do that kind of stuff. This one beer I have to have is like out in stores. Just drink like the stuff off the store shelves. So like I can bring like any beer I want. So it's kind of like a defense mechanism too, being a beer snob, because you always know that nobody's gonna like drink this like IPA or whatever you got or pale ale. They're just not going to do it. So like you can be nice and offer, but they're not going to take you up on it. And having that knowledge up front is a pretty valuable thing.
I'm the same way too. I feel like I definitely need a crowd, or I want to be out there, or be involved in some, or they have something at my house, and then we got friends over and that sort of thing. So I know what you mean. I suffer from that too. So,
well, the thing about IPA for me is like I can't start with an IPA, but I can like work up to an IPA no problem. Like a pale ale is like a good in between from like a lager to an IPA. It's like a half step. So a good pale ale will like cleanse your palate. And then when you drink the IPA, it's not like blending with other like tastes in your mouth that you've been eating or whatever. It's like really like the purest way to like get the IPA flavor is to just like work up to the IPA instead of just like starting with the IPAs. Because I'll be honest, man, some IPAs will take my breath away how bitter they are and stuff. So I won't just drink any IPA. Like it has to be like a known commodity for me to do an IPA.
I would have to say I cannot do IPAs anymore, and I think I did it twice, and the first time I was just not into it, and the second time I was golfing, and I think it really soured my mood, and I ended up doing real shitty afterwards. So I think that's why I said no more IPAs. I'm not doing it anymore. All right, fair enough. And I guess favorite non-alcoholic drink?
Right now, I am a big green tea with sugar fan, like sweetened green tea. I do a gallon of green tea with half a cup of sugar.
I want to say, is it that Arizona green tea blend?
No, I brew it. I just get my local grocery store has organic green tea bags, and I do 3 of those in a coffee pot, and then I add water, the other half gallon to make a gallon of green tea, and then I do half a cup of sugar while it's hot, and then just a little bit of lemon if you're in the mood.
That's a new way of doing it.
Yeah.
The reason I did ask is because I interviewed a guy last week. He probably drank like 2 or 3 green teas like right in front of me when we were doing this podcast outside. So that's what I had to ask. So I just wanted to make sure. So
well, right now I got my Gatorade Zero because I don't have any tea brewed because I just got back. So yeah, I'm trying to knock the sugar down as much as I can when possible. But the aspartame is probably just as bad for me. So
yeah, I'll probably keep up at
battles.
Night.
Yeah. Aspartame doesn't show up on A1C levels though, so there's that.
Yeah, we can step that through whenever we do our high blood sugar test when we go to the doctors. So
yes, exactly.
All right. The next 2 actually deal with some drum covers that you have done. I guess, was there ever a song that was too tough for you to play? Did you either give up, or did you come back after a while to finish?
Well, like I said, I'm still working on Freya. I mean, I will finish that one just because everyone else in the band is going to finish it. So I'm not going to be the one who sabotaged that song. But there's been covers we talked about playing that I just couldn't do because it just wasn't really in my wheelhouse of whether it's speed or technical ability, So I'm trying to think of one right off the top of my head we've tried. I'm not thinking of any right this second that we've tried because everyone knows that like any Slayer covers are probably not going to happen with me, so nobody's ever recommended them.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, we mostly focus on originals, really. I mean, that's really what we focus on. The cover thing right now is kind of new because we've never done one before. So like I said, we're just going to do like four covers. Each band member pick the cover they want to do. So it's a good representation of all 4 of us, and then we'll just write 4 new songs to complement the covers, I think.
All right, fair enough. I guess would you say that if you were to accomplish the Freya cover at some point, would you say that would be your favorite one, or do you have a different one?
Yeah, that would probably be the best one for me. That would probably be my biggest achievement is covering Freya note for note. If I could do it, I could do the first half, no problem. It's not really that hard until it gets to the middle. The middle is where it gets a little muddy for me because there's some weird patterns and stuff, and like you just kind of gotta like really practice it. And also, I learned a lot from watching drums because like some stuff like every once in a while like some stuff will like blend in with bass and you really can't pick it out. So, but if you see it played, you're like, oh, okay. And there's really no good drum covers of Freya at all. Like people like just kind of like jam it, and not true to the song. There's really no good videos of the Sword playing it live with Trivet in there. The new guy doesn't really do it right, so I don't really rely on his videos to play it. So I'm really just trying to like, listen really close and play it as close as I can. But if I get that one down, note beat for beat, I'll be pretty damn happy with myself. The rainbow intro was another one that I was pretty proud of. I just haven't played it in so long. I probably couldn't do it now. From muscle memories, probably left my body on that one. So,
the Stargazer one.
Yeah, yeah, just the intro. Yeah, the
really.
intro is so iconic, man. Top 5 for sure.
I see. I was gonna say the biggest thing is just to make sure you keep the beat, because the song I was doing today, I was gonna say I probably didn't do it note for note, but I at least kept the beats. It at least sounded pretty good to my ears. So I think that's what it all comes down to in the end. And then just hopefully people just don't criticize it too much. But I'd say get as close as you can, and then afterwards just be happy. So
a lot of times when I learn something just to learn it, I'll just get like the bass and snare pattern down first, and then I'll just kind of fill in everything when I get the pattern down. Like with like hi-hats, if it's like a weird hi-hat pattern or something like that, I just kind of incorporate all that and learn it that way instead of just like jumping in head first and not really know what I'm doing. It's just like figure out the basics, you kind of get the timing of the bass and snare, and then start adding the accents and stuff in, or whatever's giving you problems.
Fair enough. All right.
I mean, there's no right or wrong way. That's just the way I do.
Pretty much that's what it all comes down to in the end. I mean, whatever floats your boat, or I mean, everyone's got a different way of approaching a song too. So I know what you mean too. So best of luck to you, mate.
The Drumeo channel also talking about YouTube a couple of minutes ago. That's a pretty good channel I like too. They got some pretty good guys on there, like metal drummers that like I enjoy watching and stuff. Like they had a whole playthrough, like a lesson with like Dick Verhoeven from Megadeth, the current Megadeth drummer. And man, there was like a lot of stuff he did. I was like, wow, that's really cool stuff. So yeah, I enjoy just watching like masters of their craft play, because I am not for sure.
Yeah, we tend to enjoy it, and I guess we try to incorporate it into our drumming style too, in some sort of way too. Yeah. But I guess to try to even match what these guys are doing too, it's almost like, yeah, right. I mean, I'll try, but I'm not gonna go balls deep hard mode if that's what it's gonna come down to. So I see what you mean. All right. And the last one, what is currently your favorite song, or a song that you've been listening to a good bit?
Just one?
If you want to do top 5, if there's if there is a good list. Otherwise, normally it's meant to be one, but what do you got?
So I'm a fan of the band Amon Amarth. I like the song Loki's Fall a lot. That's a really fun one for me to listen to. There's a band called Children of Reptile that I'm a big fan of from Wilmington, North Carolina. They have a song called Burner. That's really badass that I enjoy. The song David by Horseburner, who I mentioned earlier, that's another one of my favorites I like listening to. The band Night Demon has a song called, man, it's just on the tip of my tongue. Dawn Rider. It's very Motorhead influenced. So that's a fun one. Motorhead is another one of my big influences too. I forgot to mention Filthy Phil and the latest one. His name is eluding me right now. The one I played for King Diamond also. I can't remember his name to save my life.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Sorry. I couldn't tell you either. So.
What is his name? Oh, anyway, yeah, the current drummer, the last drummer for Motorhead, and Filthy Phil, big influences of mine too. I would say Overkill by Motorhead actually is another one that I really like listening to, because it just never ends. Like the song title is tongue in cheek. It's called Overkill, and they just run it into the ground through Overkill, obviously. So just playing that intro riff over and over and over and over at the end. So yeah, that's just a sample. I mean, tomorrow could be a totally different list, you know?
Yeah, probably. I know that's kind of the same thing it was with me, especially if you are doing like drum covers, you tend to like study the songs, so they end up like coming your favorites at some point too. So, but
yeah, right now I've been doing a lot of Grand Megas covers, because one of the songs we're gonna cover is one of their songs. It's called Brother of the Storm. Pretty easy, but it has some tricky stuff in it. So I've been I play that one every night, and then I just go through their catalog and just pick some other ones I like from pretty much the later era of their catalog.
I would say, do you know the band High on Fire?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
I would say,
Dez is pretty awesome, man. I'm not sure who they have now playing. I know he quit a couple about Not well. He quit a while ago, but I don't think they put out an album without him yet. So I'd be curious to see how the new drummer is. But yeah, that guy had some big shoes to fill, for sure.
Oh,
That dude was a maniac, man. He was very to me he was very like heavier than Trevor Wingo, but kind of the same style to me.
I could say, yeah. I think I could say, yeah. It was, I keep thinking of Face of Oblivion when I was listening to that one, especially. I think after the solo and then like when it starts like picking up and everything too, I think he's like doing double foot pedal and then he's also doing like tom hits and like everything else. And I'm always thinking like, I feel like this is where it goes, but no, the toms and the snare hits go here. It's like, damn it, I'm all messed up. I'm doing it my way. So.
Yeah, do you ever do that too when you like hear a new song and you're like, I wonder what I'm gonna try to guess like how this song's gonna go next, and you'll just like think of a pattern in your head based on like what you would play, and it's like something way off base that you didn't expect or whatever. But sometimes it's exactly what I think would go there if I was playing. So it's like fun to do that with like new songs and stuff.
Sometimes, but more so with Lars from Metallica. I do that more with Lars' songs, to be honest. If it's like, I think I did it more with Eye of the Beholder, to be honest, because there's some parts where it's just like hitting the snare, it's like keeping beat with the song in general. I'm thinking like, no, you gotta like throw in maybe a little triplet right here, and it sounds pretty cool. So
yeah.
So I know what you mean too. So sometimes, but I feel like I need that connection with the song. So
yeah, I mean like take like Eye of the Beholder, and then like on the 72 Seasons album, you have If Darkness Had a Sun, and it's like very much same vibe, but the drums are just so boring. Like there's just nothing explosive about the drums on that song, but the vibe is very close. Like if you listen to it, like the guitar part is like it could be interchanged with Eye of the Beholder, and it would probably be just as good. But Lars just like doesn't try anything amazing anymore. He just like is very like, this is good, I'm done. Let's just copy paste a few times, call it a song, and it's just kind of where his playing is at now, man. It's kind of disappointing, dude, because the dude is so talented. Because he was untrained also. Like he didn't know like all this like what paradiddles and stuff like that were. He just played the James Hetfield's riffs, and that early stuff was really great. I mean, like some of it's like off timing and jumps back in at weird places. The cymbal hits are like on like 3 and 1 instead of 2 and 4 or something, and it's like really unique stuff. And now it's just kind of like very stock. Nothing really to write home about. Like you can watch, you can like listen to people like covering songs on YouTube, and they'll program their own drum track in. And the drum track's like way better than anything he's recorded on the albums, And on the off chance he does like do something cool, Phil or something like that, he doesn't even like attempt them live. It's just like very basic and like, let's not veer off the path too much in case I can't get back on, kind of thing. So
I think it's also a consequence of getting old too. I mean, you've been kind of rolling with for now 50 years, so it's almost like.
Well, I mean, yeah, there is, but like. The band creator has been around just as long, and their original drummer is still like out there like destroying those songs, playing them as he written them, as they were written, as they were written. 30 years ago, he's still playing them beat for beat at 220 BPM or whatever. So I don't think age has anything to do with it. I mean, I know stamina is a big thing, but I mean, like, there's really no excuses. Like people his age or older are still just like out there crushing thrash drumming.
True. So, all right. I don't know. It might just be him in general, but
all the, like I said, all these opinions are mine. I'm not getting mad at anybody who's like, oh, it's bullshit. It's like, it's just how I feel. My opinion is not fact. It's just the way I see things. So anybody getting mad that I'm just like giving Lars shit or not enough shit, it's just like, that's just the way I see it. But no, I love Lars Ulrich as a drummer from Black Album back. Enter Sandman was the first Metallica song I ever heard, and I was 12 years old at a school dance. I was like, what the hell is this? Like, this is the best thing I've ever heard. This is like the best thing I ever heard, man. Like, I thought it was great, man. It was huge sounding. It sounded like evil, at the time. I mean, it still does, but it's just overplayed. But like, I couldn't get enough of it, man. I like went and like told my mom, like, I have to buy this album tomorrow. Like tomorrow, I have to go get this CD or tape, wherever they had it on, and I did. It was like 2 weeks after it came out, and that was the first I ever heard of Metallica was Enter Sandman at a school dance. And then they played Too Late to Quit by MC Hammer right after that. I don't know why I remember that, but I just do.
I have to be honest. Seriously, they would play Enter Sandman at a school dance. I mean, I know they played AC/DC. I know they've done TNT, but
Yeah.
that's surprising. So
Yeah.
your school is
Well,
pretty badass.
that was my first introduction. I never heard of it before until like I had to ask somebody who was like wearing a shirt that I thought they might know, and they were like, "Yeah, this band's called Metallica," you know. And I was like, "Okay, thanks." And I went and got it the next day, and then I went and bought all their albums like pretty soon after that, you know.
All right, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
And well, we talked for almost a good hour and 30 minutes, I guess. So did you have any questions for me, or any words you want to say before we jump into the final question?
No, just my band's Temptations Wings. You can find us on Facebook, Bandcamp, YouTube, all that stuff. We're a 4-piece stoner doom power metal thrash band, I guess you could say. All our stuff's original. If you like what you hear, check it out. And also check out my video on Dave's channel, Asheville Drummer Alliance. I'm pretty far back now. I think I did it back in like May or maybe even April. So just scroll back. But there's a lot of cool people on there also have done stuff that's not even metal that I watch every video he puts up. So yeah, check that out. And if you ever see us playing in your town, come out.
I would say I was trying to get Shane Smith because he was also on Dave's channel as well. So
yeah.
He was actually supposed to come on today, actually, but unfortunately I couldn't get in touch with him. So gotcha. I think he got tied in with 4th of July, but hopefully I get him on at some point. So
where are you located at?
I'm outside of Pittsburgh, PA.
Oh, okay. So you're pretty good ways up there. Okay.
Yeah, it was a bit of a drive just trying to get down to Asheville, and I think that was actually, it was either 2021 or late 2020 maybe. I think that was the first time we, outside of just grocery shopping and all that stuff, it was the first time we traveled because of the pandemic. So,
right.
So, and it was a great experience. I kind of wish we came a bit more prepared.
I mean, every like small town that has like any kind of like culture is pretty cool to go explore. I mean, you know, I've lived here all my life, so it just feels like that's where I need to be. But like I like going to visit new places and checking out, you know, record shops and, you know, venues, looking at the posters, see what bands are around, you know, making notes of it and stuff like that. I get a kick out of all that stuff. So.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way, though. I should have came more prepared when I came to Asheville because I was going to try to do a little vlog.
Yeah.
Try to at least cover the music that all goes around there, but I didn't get a whole lot of videos, so I mean, it's cheesy, but it was something at least, and it was actually a good experiment.
Yeah.
All right. So for the final question right here, even though it may seem cliche, I think it's always best to kind of see what people's opinion is on this.
Man. Go.
So, given what COVID has done, and as we try at least, excuse me, as we try to move on past this, I think most people need hope these sort of days. So, what sort of message of hope you give to people and musicians out there?
Well, for my local underground musicians, have faith that all the touring bands will eventually lighten up a little bit and give you space to play again. Because I feel like the touring bands are just like taking everything they can get and not leaving really any opportunities for smaller bands right now, trying to recoup losses. On the other hand, it is good that people are getting out and seeing live music again. So just use the opportunities when the bigger bands come to town to network. Just like have flyers for your next show, go hit the door, and, you know, at the encore and hand them out to people walking out. CDRs are still work, or even like a download code, and people just use any means to get your name out there. Having off the bigger bands, you know. It will get better, you know. It always does. So yeah, that's my message of hope. Is like just keep pounding pavement, man. Bring back some of those 1980s methods, dude. Flyers underneath windshield wipers at venue parking lots. Like I said, download codes are cheap. You can just print out like 40 of them on a piece of paper and cut them with a paper cutter. You know, CDRs. I don't think I would do thumb drives. Those cost money. But CDRs are cheap. Most people still have a CD player somewhere. Flyers, just any kind of word of mouth you can do, man. Posters, anything you can do to get your name out there.
And so you go back to doing the recycler, which I guess they used to do on the West Coast. That's how it was with Slayer and all those guys. That's how they communicate word of mouth, as you just mentioned. So
yeah, I don't even know if papers are still a thing around here or not. I haven't had to look for a band in so long that I haven't even kept up. But But we used to have one called the Iwana here. I don't think it's around anymore, or either that or it's online. That's where the musicians were in, like, guitar player looking for, bass player and or drummer, you know, practice 5 to 6 nights a week and stuff like that. Like, that's a little too much for me, but yeah, man, whatever you teach his own.
Yeah, absolutely. And spoken like a true prodigy. So, all right. So, Jason, this was a damn good chat, and I really want to thank you so much for coming on. There are questions right here, I guess. Did you have any final words or anything you want to say before we close?
No, man, just thanks for having me on. I don't think I've ever been asked to come on for my drumming abilities or prowess before, so that was pretty cool. I've never done an interview like this that's just talking about me in my drumming journey. So yeah, thanks for having me on, dude. It was fun to talk about it.
No worries. Thanks again so much. You did mention about where you can find your band with Bandcamp and Facebook, I guess. So how else can people reach you if they want to just reach out and talk or do anything else?
I'm on Facebook. I think it's just Jason Gardner. Me and my partner Mark Jackson have our Flamekeeper podcast network. There's a Facebook page for that. You can reach out on that, or listen to other random thoughts we both have. He does a bigger one with like every week with like pretty big musicians, where I'm just like kind of topical stuff, like best album 1980 or something like that, stuff like that. I don't do the band interview stuff like he does. And then we do like a pretty much like a Star Wars or like nerd culture one too, also together.
Oh God, not this again. That whole thing.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm just on all the usual stuff. I'm not on Instagram. I'm not on Twitter. I'm just mostly on Facebook. I do the Bandcamp and Facebook pages.
I would say, actually, they were doing Rise of Skywalker not too long ago too. I'm thinking like that sequel was so cheesy, to be honest. But at the same time, I did watch just to at least give it some closure. But
man, unfortunately, they exist now, and hopefully they can just like salvage something good out of them. But I mean, dude, those sequels, man, like especially 8. Like I think 8 ruined 7 in retrospect, because you just knew that this was not going anywhere good after watching it. It sucked. It made no sense. Like there was just dumb shit in it. Like the dialogue was crap. It wasn't even like really that Star Wars, like good like nerdy Star Wars stuff. Like they weren't really talking about like nerf herders or whatever, like stuff you had no idea what it was, but it was kind of like in your like vocabulary. It was just like dumb. Like look at that big ass door, and it's like, what? Like I saw your laser sword. It's like, oh my God, what is this? Damn amateur hour here. But that's another topic for another day.
Yeah, absolutely too. But I did love Star Wars back then, just at least the original, and I was okay with the prequels afterwards.
Dude, I still like the Mandalorian. I think it's really cool. I think it's close we can get to like the original trilogy that's going right now. Cause it's just like dirty looking, and that's the way it should be. It's just like it doesn't look futuristic like the prequels. It's like kind of like grimy, and like the machines, like the speeder bikes look like they're about to fall apart, stuff like that. It's just like it kind of looks like the original trilogy, and that's what I like about it. But like everything that gets run into the ground, it's kind of like showing chinks in the armor now. So hopefully it doesn't just like get run into the ground and suck in perpetuity like Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Oh gosh, so that's another one.
I mean, it's another one, dude. Seasons 1 through 5, maybe 6, pretty great. 7 and 8, dude. What is this? So yeah, it's just like it just kind of sucks when stuff you like gets ruined. Because of like money, basically.
Something like that. But we'll save that all for another time. Maybe we could at least get together at a different time and talk about TV shows
man,
and this stuff.
If you ever want to come on one of my podcasts, yeah, I'd love to have you. We can set up a correspondence after we get done recording, and we can figure out something out. But yeah, we just like talking nerd stuff, man.
Yeah, actually, I would like that. All right.
Yeah, we'll do it.
All right. So everyone, my guest today was Jason Gardner, hailing from Asheville, North Carolina. Go check him out. Go check his podcast out. The Flamekeepers podcast,
yes.
Right? I want to make sure I get that right.
Flamekeeper podcast group. It's
okay.
The Metal Forge is the main one, and then the Alehorn and then the Mudhorn is my 2 that I do once a month. So I do 2 a month, and Mark does 4 to 5, depending on how many weeks in a month.
All right, fair enough. All right, so Jason, thank you again so much for coming on. Stay safe. Stay tuned, y'all.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.